The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and good morning. I am Zaira Tumang and I'm streaming live from Taguig City.
Okay, and I am Joseph Sylvester and I'm streaming live from Parañaque City. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the future of Bitcoin.
Hello and it's great to be back once again. Medyo matagal akong nawala and I really missed having a show with you, Sly. And I guess in today's episode, we'll discuss the future or kung may future pa nga ba of Bitcoin and what we see beyond the bear market. If you are new into Bitcoin or blockchain, whoever you are right now who's watching our show, don't worry because this episode won't be focused on anything too technical. However, we'll be looking at future of Bitcoin and the blockchain projects, prices, and where the market will be going in the upcoming months and years. I'm sure maraming nag-iintay dito, no? Because, right now there's a lot of things going on and we just want to discuss where Bitcoin and blockchain technology is headed out and what platforms or new change will be introduced into the market so we can get a head start of future investments and price predictions with those markets. So here with me today is none other than my Chief Technology Officer of Red Property Ventures and of course 88 Celestial Labs, Joseph Sylvester, also known as Sly, to discuss upcoming projects regarding Bitcoin and blockchain technology in the upcoming months along with the price predictions.
All right, what's up? Good day, guys. All right, so it's great to be back here as well. So if we can share my screen, which way? All right, so if we can share my screen for a bit. Oh, sorry, I'm not even sharing. Let's try this again. Share screen and here, screen 3. Okay, so if we can share my screen. All right, so to get started, this is the overview. Of course, you know how I structure these things. It's always some kind of discussion presentation thing. So yeah, let's do this. The overview today is what is Bitcoin and blockchain. I'll briefly catch everybody up to that. Bitcoin halving, market cycles in crypto, finding opportunities. Stock to flow model, we'll understand market melt up, how crypto will be affected by BTC price increase, trading cryptocurrencies, projects to watch out for, why 2024 and 2025 are important years, understanding risk appetite, and lastly, we'll talk about strategies. So yeah,
Wow, that's a lot of things to discuss. Parang sa college, buong semester na yata yan. But hopefully, it won't be advanced for our users because, last night, somebody, when I posted our picture, he said, oh, nasa Bitcoin ka pala. Can you teach me how to do this? And I said, you know what? You just have to watch our show because there's a lot to digest and a lot to understand. So from your list, I recognize very few and some are new to me. I mean, we're kind of gonna learn again with you and with our audience.
That's right. Most of the times, what we have to do sometimes is we have to unlearn to relearn. So that's what we're going to do today in today's show. Okay, so there are advanced topics, but the key thing you need to know for pretty much this entire episode is how money moves from one market to another. That is it. Since the episode is primarily focused on Bitcoin, what is learned from one topic, yeah, what is learned from one topic I'm covering will make sense in the next. So it's kind of like a stair step method of learning. Okay.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's going to be carried over and you're going to learn as we go along. Okay.
Well, take it away. The floor is all yours, Lai.
All right. So let's do this. So let's briefly talk about what is Bitcoin very quickly here. Again, we know it is a cryptocurrency. It is its own blockchain. So if you've heard of Bitcoin as the cryptocurrency, there is Bitcoin as the blockchain. Yeah. It's what Bitcoin has done is that it's introduced the concept of decentralized digital ledger technology. Okay. What that basically means is that if you if you run, let's say, inventory at a very small store, you keep track of things, but that's usually on a pen and pad. But now we take that to the digital world where everything is online. Okay. Lastly, data mutability. Data can't change. Um, Things that Bitcoin did was that they introduced the concept of a wallet address that represents you online. So we're talking about digital identity. And last but
Mm.
not least, decentralized digital transaction. What we know right now is that we're very used to, let's say, payment platforms like Gcash, Maya, things like that, money being sent digitally. Okay, but that's fiat. When it comes to things like Bitcoin, they introduced the concept of digital, literally internet money, as they call it, being sent from one user to another. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. Now, here's the fun part. What Bitcoin introduced then flowed down to the blockchains that came about. So again, what Bitcoin introduced, most blockchains out there pretty much have it by standards. That's the thing. So again, we're talking about decentralization, data immutability. It's a public ledger. It's deterministic, meaning every transaction, whether it's to the same wallet from wallet A to wallet B several times. Deterministic just means that every transaction is treated as unique. Okay. And then last but not least, Bitcoin introduced the idea of consensus. Now, consensus, all that basically is how data is confirmed on a blockchain. From there, we understand proof of work, but we now have several other types of consensus mechanics, such as proof of work. Ethereum has now proof of stake. Binance Smart Chain is proof of authority. Solana is proof of history. And there's so many consensus mechanisms with different blockchain projects out there. Okay.
Mm.
Next, you have layer two and layer zero technologies. Simply put, they just work on, let's say, if you're working with Ethereum, layer two builds on top of Ethereum so that there is interoperability, meaning blockchains can literally talk to one another no matter what consensus mechanism or whatever, even if it's not an EVM chain. But just put it that way. All blockchains can talk to each other. That's what number 4 is about. And last but not least, my favorite, managing and storing data on a decentralized database. In this case, it's blockchain. Yeah.
So it's safe to say that when new projects enter the crypto markets, they all have the concept or idea. So are they all the same in the end?
Okay, so good question. Actually, to answer this, it's a two-part answer. So to put some light into what projects and people should be looking out for in terms of their next investment. So let me answer the first part like this. Yes, most blockchains that are coming out or are about to come out, something like that. Um, this is seen everywhere where what we're looking at basically is that projects eventually end up looking the same. Okay.
Mm,
Now here's a good example. NFTs are a good example of what I'm trying to explain here. So every blockchain, okay, every blockchain has some form of NFT platform associated with them. Okay. So let's look at Ethereum. Actually, your top five main blockchains out there, OpenSea like hosts them because OpenSea does Ethereum, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Solana, and I think there's one more. But that's what I mean. Okay. Now, when it comes to NFTs, there's other people out there, let's say Rarible, okay? And I'm going to use these two as an example, okay? So the question is, hold on, here we go. So the question is, I just said that pretty much everything looks the same in the end, but here's where I need people to start honing in now into our conversation is that
mhm,
platforms like OpenSea do well versus Rarible is simply because, is simply because platforms like OpenSea, they see the new standards, they see things coming up. Okay. So let me walk with everybody here through the process of OpenSea and why they did well versus, let's say Rarible.
mhm,
Okay. Now, again, we're talking about Bitcoin. Okay. We're talking about Bitcoin here. So let's talk about that first. Okay, so Bitcoin has what is known as halvings. Okay,
mhm,
now these halvings, they take place, let's say, before a bull run of some sort, and that's going to be key for me to explaining this to everybody. So when we
mhm,
look at the Bitcoin halvings, if we look here on my left, the first halving took place around November 12th. Okay, what happened after 2012, 2013? There was a bull run.
mhm,
Again, there was a halving in 2016. Okay, what happened there? 2017 was the bull run. Third halving, May 20th. Okay, what happened during that time? Bull run until 2021. Okay, so that's part one. Part two is this. Sorry, the next part of this is that OpenSea was established in 2017. Okay, it was established, but they
mhm,
built the platform for 2 years. Okay, literally like during and after the second Bitcoin bull run. Then there was this standard called ERC 721. They looked at it and then they saw it as this is going to get big soon, but we don't know when. Okay, so
mhm,
let's put two and two together here. We have a Bitcoin halving on in
mhm,
2020. You have a new standard that has very good promise, meaning like people can use this. And then here we have OpenSea being, it opened its doors to the public in 2019. Okay. So do you see how OpenSea positioned itself in terms of
mhm,
its platform prior to a bull run? So they were literally on time. They
mhm,
situated themselves at the bottom of a market cycle, but with right
mhm,
timing, and the know-how of a technology, they rode the wave up.
mhm.
Okay,
Well, they saw
so
the opportunity, and since they know where it's going and what's to come, they just snuck themselves in the middle so that everybody would be. Maybe this will be the nice place to do things and to sell things because they know what's going to happen.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So Now, when it comes to blockchain projects that introduce new concepts through utilizing new standards, usually
Mm,
coming from the Ethereum community, that
mm,
are viable in retail and consumer markets, are
mm,
the ones that tend to do really well,
mm,
especially as an investment or utilizing it as a platform. Okay.
mm.
However, mix that in with proper market cycle timing, a project can do very well. Yeah.
So, just to simply put, Bitcoin halvings are very important for new projects entering the scene. Do halvings dictate a bull run?
Okay, so the answer is yes. Halvings are important because if Bitcoin moves up, so does the entire market, including altcoins. So let me explain this. Oops. Oh, my mouse. Okay. All
Mm,
right. So let's look at Bitcoin halvings. Okay. So these are the facts. A Bitcoin halving has always taken place before a bull run. Okay. Now, bull runs happen every 3 to 4 years. Okay.
right.
Now, bull runs, okay, keep in mind, bull runs take longer to reach its max peak, meaning all time high. And
Mm,
sometimes, okay, now here's the thing, sometimes bull runs are not continuous. Okay. And
mm,
I'm going to prove my point here. They're not continuous. Okay. As we've seen in 2019 when Bitcoin went to $15,000, but dropped back down to 3,000 again in 2020, then made a strong upwards trend into 65,000 US dollars in 2021. Okay.
medyo malapit na tayo ngayon dyan. It's like 19 to 18 now. Are you saying it's gonna drop again to like 8 or 9? Parang ganon. So
Actually,
are we expecting the same pattern for the next bull run? Because something like a small bump a year prior to a Bitcoin halving, come back down, then continue the bull run after the halving. Ganun ba? Is that what you're saying?
yeah. So let me explain this part. Okay. Okay. So I took some time out to kind of like really break down, but in a simplified way, what took place. So the answer is yes, and I think history will repeat itself again, but there is a reason for it. I strongly believe that a new token standard will come out for Ethereum before the next bull run. I know
So
we're
they're just
talking
gonna
about,
time it, huh?
I think they are, but hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So here's what happened back in 2019. If you can follow my mouse where it says 6 months, okay, this is around 2018. Now we go into June 2019. The peak in 2019 was about roughly $15,000. Then it dropped back down to 3,000 again, right?
Right.
Now, why am I saying that we will see a mini run, or why will we see like basically a fractal taking place here? Because if in 2019 it looks like we had a bull run, but it came back down, but in right
Mhm.
here in 2020, right around in this area, we continued upwards. We continued the trend upwards. So
Right.
why was that? Okay. I think um, and again, hear me out here. When did the NFT standard come out? It came out in 2018. What was
Mhm.
trying to get launched in 2019? It was the NFT standard.
Right.
Okay. I was there because I was with EOS. I was doing NFTs with EOS at the time. And I was scratching my head. I don't see how this would work, but they were introducing the concept of the ERC 721 or the NFT standard. So what happened in 2020? The market like boomed, not because it was Bitcoin and money was being transferred to the crypto market, but a
Yeah.
lot of the transactions happened, and a lot of the money flows were coming in through um, platforms like OpenSea and Rarible because the NFT standard was booming. Now, of course, we have standards that we have platforms out there that took the ERC 721 standard like to the maximum limit, and we've seen it with like Axie Infinity because in the end that was an NFT game. In the end,
It is, yeah.
right? And then you have things like Mirror, something Crypto Blades. These are all NFT games, but it's the idea that the NFT standard ERC 721 literally helped push that bull run. Although Bitcoin, yeah, people put money in Bitcoin, but really that standard pushed the market. Yeah. Are we seeing a pattern here? Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So things like this, when we see new standards, this allows other blockchain projects to create their version of that new standard and have it market ready. Okay, so that's what's happening here.
Just like in any projects or products, you really have that introduction first, and then you build out your brand, and then have the people try it out before it really gets into their system and everybody is into it. So nothing is magic, and it's still the market that decides upon it. So why? May question ako eh. So why would a continuation take place in the crypto market cycle? Why can't we have 1 year an upward cycle before it comes down again?
Okay. The answer is that when it comes to centralized exchanges, especially in volatile crypto markets, predictability is bad. You don't want a predictable market. If things were predictable, okay, most centralized exchanges would be out of business because everyone is trading in the same direction, but in but it's a correct direction, meaning they're on the right side of the trade. I know this because I worked for two exchanges in the past. Okay. So let me talk about this part right here. Okay. So what's being presented here is a Bitcoin price prediction from the past and the upcoming years going into 2026. Okay. Keep this in mind, going until 2026. This is basically a Bitcoin stock to flow model. What we are seeing here in this is actually it's an algorithm created by a Twitter user who's well known on Twitter about discussing Bitcoin price predictions. His name is Plan B. Now,
right, yeah.
So if you're new to this, surprisingly, this model has worked out. Not to the T, but it has provided a lot of insights. Okay, meaning this is a very trusted model. Now, what I'm trying to explain here is that currently Bitcoin is trading roughly around 19,000, 20,000 US dollars. Now, just using basic support and resistance, okay, we have three solid floors of support here. Okay, the first support is at 10,000 US dollars. So the question was asked earlier, will Bitcoin move down? The answer is, in my opinion, yes. And I want it to move down. Okay. There's a reason for it. Now, the second floor is roughly 3,000, and then the next solid floor would be 1,000. Do I see Bitcoin going to these levels? Yes, but at the same time, what is the probability? I will get to that in the few slides. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that we have three floors of support, and then we have one major floor here. Okay, see where my mouse is? This blue line right here.
If you're a trader and you understand technical analysis, 3 floors is, we're really getting there. We're nearing the bull run because we're already on the 3rd floor. Okay, tatlong beses na bumaba yan eh. So it's really just a matter of your patience and time if you can still hold on to that. But
right.
Yeah, go ahead, continue.
Right. It's actually really about patience. But now, since we start to see the pattern of, Bitcoin halvings taking place at this particular time and year,
Mm.
What does the market do prior to that? So we see a resistance right here of 75,000 to about 100,000 US dollars. So this tells us from where we're at and where we can possibly go before the next halving,
Halving,
our
yeah.
range is basically between 10,000 to 75,000 US dollars.
Mm.
If you want to be, if you want to be positive about things, we can just say 1,000 to $75,000. I mean, great. We've narrowed it down at least. Okay.
So you're
Um,
simply saying, like me as a newbie trader, for example, you're sure to say that within that range, Bitcoin can go up. So at this level at 18, I should buy, just do my DCA and just continue buying and holding it because for sure it's going to go there anyway before the halving. It's just a matter of time.
well, that's one way to really look at things. But here's what I'm saying. You're not entirely wrong. Okay. And
Mhm.
remember when I talked about what happened in 2019, where it kind of went up for a bit, right?
Mhm.
I strongly believe we're going to see the exact same thing in 2023. We will see a run up. But it will not go past its previous all-time high. But I
Right.
still think there will be a run up. If you want a
Mhm.
DCA, I mean, go ahead. But what I'm saying is, we might have a small peak in 2023, but again, not breaking the previous all-time high.
Oh, well, that's good enough for me as, if may matitira man ako, di ba? Because sure, in the 2023, I can go out before the halving if I just want a little bit of an income. But that answers a part of my question. But what also supports a possible small peak in 2023 before a full run after the Bitcoin halving?
Okay. So for this one, it's going to be a bit lengthy, but I'll try to do it as best as I can here. So there's a term out there called a market melt up. Okay, yeah. So a market melt up. Okay, to summarize, there are several financial mechanisms in the world, but one of them I think is most notable is called quantitative easing. Now,
Mm,
yes, this kind of primarily deals with the states and most Western countries. What this basically means is that central banks basically print money into the national currency. Okay.
mhm,
And basically, that money being printed is injected into its own economy. Okay.
mhm,
Okay. So we're injecting money that's printed into the economy. The
mhm.
downside of this is that it causes the devaluation of that currency. Okay.
Yeah, which is happening right now in a lot of countries.
That is correct in some way. Now, what happens? So what happens is you have a devalued currency, and when you have a devalued currency, what you start to see in the market is that the market cycles are no longer long; they're actually shortened, and I'm
Mhm,
starting to see that in the data. So
mhm,
what this basically means with shorter market cycles. Now, market cycle goes up and down. That's a cycle, right?
mhm.
So with shorter market cycles, basically, money needs to continuously switch hands into other markets. Okay, so some people view this as finding performing assets versus letting money sit because everyone wants to make sure their money performs, and
Mhm.
this is possible with a shorter market cycle because you know now let me try to simplify this even further. Okay, so
Something
let's
that
look
we
at
can
the
all relate to.
yeah. So let's get into forex for a bit. Okay, let's get into
Okay.
forex now to simplify what I'm saying. Okay, let's look at the U.S. dollar uh, versus the PHP price index. So in other words, let's look at the USD dollar index versus the price of the peso. Again, you'll
Okay,
see a
let's just hold on to that thought because I think we need to have a break.
sure.
Ano ba to? Is it going to be like, is the US dollar strong because the peso is weak in some sort of? So let's get back into that after this short
Yes,
message.
yeah. After the break, after the break.
Juan Lu and his puppets face to face with special guests Makata Tawanan, Jess Box, and the Lunaria Marionette Show.
Salita. Alam mo, Tito Anlo, kung wala ako, magsasalita ka nag-isa. Kung wala ako, wala kang masusuot. Kung wala ako, wala kang nakakain.
November 13, Sunday, 7 p.m. at the La Verdad Auditorium in Apalit, Pampanga. Buy your tickets now and see you soon, face to face.
The new channel is an online alternative new media platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our channel is a responsible global 24/7 platform that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. You can watch live or on replay via Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on IG. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search hashtag TNC Now. For sponsorships, please email now at thenewchannel.com or send us a DM. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them for you. Join us outdoors for a charity bazaar and spend good times at TNC's first ever face-to-face public event. We've laid out fun activities across 3 days and begin your holiday shopping. Yep, because why not? While hearing songs from our hashtag Jam at Home buskers. Going live face-to-face. Drive by Mayflower Parking, Greenfield District in the heart of the Tiger City this coming weekend. October 21, 22, and 23 at 4 o'clock to 12 midnight. Entrance is free, plus many surprises and giveaways for those who can go. So, biyahe na kami. Let's go. Sabay ka na. Alright. So, nabitin ako, Sday, sa is the dollar strong or is the peso weak? Maybe you can explain this to our audience because ito yung nagtatrend right now, di ba? Is the dollar strong or is the peso weak?
So here's my answer. Okay. If we can share my screen. Okay. So is the dollar strong or is the peso weak? Well, again, let's look at the data. Okay. So on the left, you have the dollar index. On the right, you have the Filipino currency index. So there is a correlation. Now, what I want you to answer your question before I get into some kind of online feud here, what I want you to take a look at are these boxes. This box here on the right, and this box here on the right as well. Again, U.S. dollar on the left, peso on the right. So the question is, one more time, Z, what is that question?
Is the dollar strong or is the peso just weak?
The dollar is strong, period. Dollar strong. Look at the data. Okay. Now, there's going to be an explanation on why this is actually. So here's what I'm saying. Again, we're looking at the currency index of the US dollar and the Philippine peso. Okay, so there is a correlation here. Okay, so in the case of, here's an example. Whenever one index goes to the extreme in any one direction, right now we're talking about the US dollar. Okay, if an index goes to the extreme, usually in the dollar, if it goes into the extreme, okay, here's what we see right now in 2022. That's the year we're in right now. The US dollar index is near 121. Okay, so the four rate recs of the peso to dollar, peso is getting weaker, dollar stronger, meaning, that's the reason why we're seeing 59 pesos to the dollar. That's simple. Okay, now the inverse of this. Okay, now to all the online warriors out there who are going to berate me later, okay, here's what happened back in 2013. Pay attention now, dollar index. Okay, when the dollar index was sort of around below 70, what we see is a stronger peso. And we've seen this back in 2013. Okay, 2013. We saw a 40 peso to a $1 exchange rate. So again, where were those keyboard warriors then? You know what I mean? So hopefully that answers your question. Yes, the dollar is strong, but when the dollar gets weak, when the index gets to a certain number, the answer is usually around 70. That's when we start to see stronger foreign currencies. Yeah. Now, here's the point I'm trying to make, just to kind of summarize everything. So when it comes to the dollar, okay, it's usually healthy when the dollar index, it's trading between the range of 80 to 100. Okay, that's healthy. We need that slight volatility, but we don't want it too strong. We don't want it too weak. Okay,
Right.
But that's usually the healthy range. Okay, now when the dollar index starts going over 110 on the index, forex markets, they start to worry. Everyone starts rushing in to get into a dollar or something of safe haven. Usually it's the US dollar. Okay, usually because out of fear that their local currency will get weaker. Okay.
Right.
And that's what I'm assuming the keyboard warriors are now scratching their head about. We have the answer, guys. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So now here's the inverse of that. Throughout my years, I understand that when the dollar index hits like below 70, that's when a lot of people start to say, yay, our foreign currency, like the Philippine peso, it's getting stronger. But the problem is that's good for short term, because then who does it affect? In the case of 2013, it actually affected a lot of the OFW sending money home because of a weaker dollar. So that's why I'm saying in a dollar index between 80 to 100 is usually healthy. Yeah. So now a market melt up. Okay, we go back to the idea of the market melt up is a mechanism in which certain components of an economy do something to increase the value of a currency, usually through increasing interest rates. Interest rates. Okay, and there's other types of mechanisms out here, but interest rates seem to be the most obvious. Okay, so this props up the currency to have more purchasing power compared to other foreign currencies. Okay, so the key word here was interest. Okay, it's driving the dollar up. Okay, now, like I said, there are negative effects though, as we will see in a few years when the dollar gets weaker. Okay, Anything that goes up must eventually come down. Okay.
Mhm.
So, but the negative effect of a weaker dollar is that if we want to see if we want to see another like a Bitcoin bull run, we need a weaker dollar. Okay.
Right.
Now keep this in mind. We need
I'm
a
waiting.
weak.
We're waiting
We
for the
need.
dollar to crash.
No, it won't crash. Actually, it's just going to get super weak. Now, here's what I'm saying. There's a relationship here between the dollar index and Bitcoin. Okay. If you've been in cryptocurrency trading, you should already know this. But if you are new to cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, this is
Mhm.
something you must take to heart. Okay. So the word of today is correlation. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me explain what correlation is, which will literally summarize everything we've been talking about.
Mhm.
The definition is purely this: it's a mutual relationship or connection between two or more things. Now, to simplify what we just said, if the US dollar index goes up, the value of foreign currencies goes down. Thus,
Right.
$1 to 59 pesos. Philippine
Mhm.
peso is weak. Now, if the US dollar index goes down, the value of foreign currencies like the peso, the purchasing power goes up. So back in 2013, we will see probably another $1 to 40 pesos again. Okay, so correlation. So that's correlation in a nutshell. Yeah.
Well, wait. Hold on. Okay. If there is a correlation with US dollar with the forex currency, I'm very familiar with this because we also trade forex. What that also apply in the same manner with the US dollar index to Bitcoin? Is there a correlation there?
So yes, there is a correlation. Boom.
Mm.
There is a correlation. Okay, so the answer is yes. So again, here's what we have. We have the US dollar index on the left, and then we have the price of Bitcoin on the right. Okay. Now, here's what I want to say. There are two boxes here, right? On the left side, here's the first box, and here's the second box. Notice how on the dollar index, when it goes down, the price of Bitcoin went up. But when the dollar index goes up, the price of Bitcoin goes down. Do we see the correlation now? So here's what I'm trying to say. The reason why this is taking place is that the market see Bitcoin as a currency. It sees it the same way as any fiat currency now. But we're talking about Bitcoin here. They see Bitcoin as a currency. So the bull run from 2020 to 2021, the crypto market cap had around $4 trillion on it. Yeah. Right now, it's less than 1 trillion. Okay. So a market, a market melt up happening to the dollar index affects everything. Okay.
Mm.
So, however, there is one part of the market melt up. However, this is like one part of the market melt up, and there are several other components. So we go back to our conversation earlier. Are we going to see a more cheaper Bitcoin? The answer is it depends. What do I mean by that? The dollar index is trading roughly around 121, 119, so somewhere around there, right? But around 121. You see this blue line right here? If it hits that,
I'm already like checking right now, trading you. What is the dollar index right now? Okay, go ahead.
so the dollar index, right? It's kind of like an index that kind of shows the strength of that. In this case, it's the dollar. It just shows the strength, right? Now, the blue lines that you see on the left side represent, let's say, previous all-time highs. So in the last cycle, the highest was 119. So I guess we kind of hit that one already. The next one is 161. Okay,
Mhm.
that was a previous all-time high back in the days. Okay, I think that was like 1980s, I think. But
Mhm.
161, we're at 121, so 40 more points to go. But what happens when we hit 161? Where will Bitcoin be? Hopefully cheaper. But that's going to destroy every single foreign currency out there, even us. If we see 161 on a US dollar index, we're going to see probably $1 to 100 pesos. That's bad, but at least that means cheaper Bitcoin. But again, I think we don't want to go to these numbers. We need to be in a healthy range. But in order to get to a cheaper Bitcoin, we need to achieve, in my opinion, a higher dollar index. But if we go there, that's going to disrupt the world. Okay, that is totally going to disrupt the world. So my answer would be, what is the hard floor for Bitcoin? To be honest, to be safe, because there is a correlation between the dollar index and Bitcoin prices, I think a solid 10,000 is somewhere we can see without doing any more damage to the economies around the world. Okay, so to sum it up, when you're using the dollar index to gauge whether we'll see a Bitcoin reversal, still remains to be seen. But we can use the dollar index as a way to kind of give us a signal if we're out of bear market territory, as it looks like.
Sign. This is the sign.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when you look at this, the momentum, because if you look at the left, the momentum of the dollar index is still continuously rising. Okay, I'm using Heikin Ashi, so the momentum is still it's an upwards trajectory versus the Bitcoin prices.
Using the same thing. I'm also using Heikin Ashi.
Yeah. But yes. So as it looks like right now, like we're far from a reversal in the market. Bitcoin market. We're very far from it.
So you mentioned correlation. Does the same thing happen with Bitcoin or the other altcoins? Meaning, if Bitcoin goes up, alts go down, and vice versa.
Actually, the answer is yes, and I've actually done some research on this and some practice. The answer is yes, but it's very tricky. It's a very tricky question to answer. Now, since the movement of BTC affects all cryptocurrencies, like your altcoins, okay, you'll tend to see alts move when Bitcoin moves up. Yeah. So, however, it's slower. But when BTC or Bitcoin, when it takes a pause, when it takes a break in its upward trajectory, you start to see certain altcoins just spike out of nowhere, like 20%, 35, 50% gains within a 24-hour period. So in this case, we cannot use something like an index to determine whether or not BTC or the alts move. In actuality, what really works in this part now is kind of like just technical analysis, relying on the more common methods of trading. Yeah.
So how does a newbie trade this market? Obviously, there is a bear market happening right now. Is there some way to understand at least some from the fundamentals?
Yeah, there is. But here's the thing. Oh, not yet. There is, however, I don't want to get it too much into technical analysis. There's fundamentals. I suggest that users start understanding how to read charts like indexes and see the correlation between what we're discussing, dollar and Bitcoin. So this is where you start to learn, like, how the crypto markets move. And if you're new to trading, I guarantee you're going to use spot market. Forget, you're going to use spot market. So forget any other market but spot. Just focus on spot if you're new. So in that case, you can just focus on buy low, sell high. That's usually that's it.
So you're saying, as a newbie, I'll stick to spot and then buy low, sell high. How would I somehow know if now is the right time to buy?
Well, the answer is it's like this. If you understand how the dollar index works, what you're going to wait for basically is a plateau or plateau. Sorry. When this thing starts to plateau, that's when you should say to yourself, hey, look, when the dollar index starts to plateau, what
Mm,
is the result of that plateau? What is, let's say, the Philippine peso doing at this time? Or what is
mm,
cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, doing at this time? Is it moving
mm,
in the opposite direction? So that's
mm.
when you need to start strategizing. Yeah, is when this dollar index starts to plateau or flatten off. But here's the thing, when it starts to flatten or plateau, you are still in a waiting game because it still needs to make a decision whether it still wants to continue upwards or
Mm.
now it's starting to go down. So that's what I would say.
So what can you advise as a newbie right now? I mean, I just wanted to answer these questions that comes to most of my messages right now because
Sure.
a lot of investors are like, where shall I place my money? I mean, insurance is getting trampled on. I can buy some US dollars. I'm not sure about Bitcoin, and maybe I can open up Bitcoin a little bit, but I'm not sure how to do this. So, what is your advice for them?
Well, here's the thing though. When we talk about where to put your money in, basically you want to always put, if you have a lot of money, like a lot,
Mm, mm,
you go for either Bitcoin or Ethereum because the market cap for Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're already in the billions. Okay. So if you need liquidity, it's going to be Bitcoin or Ethereum. But of course, you have the stable coins. I'm still a
mhm.
Tether fan, you know. But if you want to pour investments into any form of cryptocurrencies, what you want to aim for is basically high cap coins. Because
Right.
if you have lots of money and you want to cash out, because,
Mm,
let's say your 1 million peso investment became a 1 billion peso investment because whatever, you want to make sure that you can get your money out. And Bitcoin or Ethereum, knowing that they are both the highest market cap coins out there, you can basically cash out. No
So,
problems.
other than Bitcoin, are there other in your radar right now? Any projects that they have to look out for, like a new standard? Because you mentioned a while ago, it's a perfect timing before the halving. Maybe under your radar, it's happening right now. In the last run in 2020 and 2021, the NFT you mentioned a while ago, NFT market, and then OpenSea came up with they have this ERC 721 standard. It was a hit. All of the artists that I know is asking me how can I make money out of my art in NFT. I don't understand any platform that does that, but there are a lot of platforms that were launched and they're exploring it. And every single blockchain was following what Ethereum was doing by creating their own NFT in any other marketplaces and utilizing that standard in their own way. Is there something new coming out that we have to wait and watch out for?
Actually, the answer is yes, there is one. There's a new standard out there, and it's really more towards decentralized finance. The standard is called ERC 4626, and I did some research on this. What I want you to understand what this does is that it solves three
Mm,
problems. Okay, interoperability between smart contracts. So Ethereum can talk to Polkadot, Polkadot can talk to Polygon. It's interoperable. Okay. Now, in terms of how it works, it's staking, but what
mm,
makes it better than what we have out there is that there is more security because we're looking at a container that holds a certain amount of funds, right? And those funds, if you were to put Ethereum into this vault, you will get X token as your reward, thus staking.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
So, in essence, what we have here, if I can, yeah, in essence, what we have here basically is we have an ATM staking machine. That's what this new standard is. It's an ATM staking machine. Why? Because the vault, which acts like, an ATM, if funded with the tokens, and you're depositing, let's say, Ethereum or Bitcoin into it, meaning you're going to stake with them, you're going to get tokens, and that's what's being handed out. Yeah. So again, ATM staking machine.
It's like similar right now with banks because yesterday I came in an opening of a bank. Um, each branch has a, let's just say they have around 100 million to have as a deposit. But for those people who will put their money in a particular product, they will be giving out an insurance of some sort for free. In a similar manner, how this is how it's being done with ERC 4626 is that you put in your tokens in here or your Ethereum in here or whatever it is, and then you will be given something else, right? It's the same concept.
It's the same concept because just like an ATM machine, there's so much cash in there, right? So let's say if you're going to withdraw, in this case, you're going to get your DeFi rewards. Eventually, it's going to run out. So this smart contract just needs to be refilled again, so that way it can release funds. So again, ATM.
Okay. Continue.
Okay, so here's the thing. Where we can see this actually in the financial sectors is that we can start seeing this a lot in checkings and savings accounts. They'll probably do it in CDOs, loans. And here's one thing: REITs, real estate investment trusts. I can see it happening here. Okay.
Wow.
And then, of course, we have fractional banking between multiple lenders and borrowers, which is a big thing still. So you put everything into one smart contract. In this case, it's a vault. Everyone puts their money in. You can program the smart contract to say, hey, here are the yields. And it gets dispersed to all multiple wallet addresses, or in this case, members between borrowers and lenders. So there's a huge use case here.
I know what you're getting at because right now, since there's a lot of things that are happening, a lot of products and companies or brands are trying out a different type of marketing to get investments in. And so they're kind of pulling in a lot of funds in one pool so that they will be able to get the money that they need for a certain project, but at the same time get the time that they need to be able to give out what is needed for these investors over time. But the risk is actually lesser because the pool is divided amongst people. But the agenda here is to gain the money that they need at that moment so that they will be able to give out what is needed eventually in the long run.
That is correct, yeah.
So what about the NFT standard? Will we be seeing anytime something that is new in the NFT scene?
Actually, according to my research, when we look at NFTs, we're going all over the place with NFTs. You got profile pic projects, monsters, weapons, and Unity. I'm doing that already. Power-ups. The sky's the limit. We're doing social media things with NFTs already. Lens Protocol is proving this to be true. Also, what I'm seeing a lot of are NFT articles in the form of an NFT. So I don't think that we're going to see any new standards in ERC 721. I just think we're just going to see a lot of new innovation. So yeah.
So I think we have a basic understanding of what to look out for in the upcoming, months and what kind of projects that will be on our radar, right? So, however, can you go back to Bitcoin and when should we be expecting the next bull run? I know we have a lot of things that we can still want to discuss, but the bottom line is people who are watching right now is just looking, hey, I already invested my money in Bitcoin and it's continuously going down. May pag-asa pa ba tong umakyat? Or when is the right time for me to sell it? Or should I buy more? Any last words for them right now?
Okay, simply put, if we look at the stock to model flow chart right now, I'm not saying as an investment advice. Right now, Bitcoin is cheap. I still think it can go lower, but you can, just either you want to hold now and then wait for the price to drop, then get in, but it's going to be up to you. But what I'm saying is, when is the next bull cycle? When will that start? Again, 2024 is the next halving, which is the fourth halving. We're looking somewhere between February and May.
One, right?
Well, for this one that's coming up in 2024, it's going to be between February and May. So those dates are going to be very crucial. The dates leading up to February to May 2024, I suggest that you play your strategy at that time. Okay. I'm not saying to invest. I'm just saying play your strategy at that time, because anytime after those dates, we don't know what will happen, but I know what will happen.
Well, there's a lot to take in this episode, and if our analysis is correct in terms of what to expect on Bitcoin, what to do, which project to look at for, and the prices, it's good to know that we have a sense of right direction, if I may say, in correlation to everything that you have mentioned with the dollar, the index, the pesos, the currencies out there, and what to look for now, so we can start, like you mentioned, recalibrating, strategizing, and start to time the markets. Hopefully, I know that you cannot time the market perfectly, but at least a little bit closer to what is needed. Anyway, that is our show for today, and thank you, Sly, for that wonderful presentation as always. And we'll see you soon again on our last episode, and that's going to be on November 5. So see you soon, guys, and I hope you understood everything and really muster that over this few weeks that we have. Maybe the dollar can go up, and we can put some more money in there, make some more money, and then wait for it to crash, and then maybe we can buy some more Bitcoin and wait for it to go up again, right? We'll see you guys soon, and hopefully on November 5 you'll be with us again. That's all for today. Bye.